Hello, my name is Noah Kaufman, and this is my presentation on Wiley Post. See, Wiley Post was born on November 22nd, 1898, to a small farming community in Corinth, Texas. Being one of the five children born to his parents, May and William Francis Post, who both worked as small-time cotton farmers. Wiley did not have much love for farming or school for that matter, and despite his academic failings, Wiley Post would graduate from elementary in the seventh grade. His family would move around quite often, eventually settling on a farm in Maysville, Oklahoma, and it's here that he would find his love for aviation. His love for aviation would begin in 1913 when he visited the county fair in Lawton, Oklahoma. Post would witness a Curtiss pusher plane flying overhead, and his admiration in the machine pushed him to enroll in the Sweeney Automobile and Aviation School in Kansas City, which he did graduate from. During World War I, Post was eager to become a pilot for the USAS, the U.S. Army Air Service. However, the war ended. Germany surrendered well before he could ever begin proper training, and he just never could go through with it. After the war, found work as a roughneck at the Oklahoma oil fields. His personal life, however, was at an all-time low, which culminated in his arrest over armed robbery. Wiley served over a year in the Oklahoma State Reformatory, being paroled in the summer of 1922. He would return to his job at the oil fields, augmenting his income by also finding a job, as a parachute jumper for Burrell Tibbs's Flying Circus. He would also slowly begin learning how to fly. In October 1926, Wiley Post would be injured at the oil field, where a piece of metal basically just falls into his left eye, and the infection renders him completely blind. Which he did cover this injury with an eye patch, which became somewhat of a famous quirk of his in the later years. However, this injury would not stop him from learning how to fly. Post would continue to learn how to fly the circus and used his settlement money to purchase a Canadian JN-4 Kenneck. After he damaged his plane in an accident, he would sell it. Post would get hired as a pilot for oilman Florence C. Hall, purchasing two Lockheed Vegas and christening both as Winnie Mae after his daughter. With permission from his boss, Wiley would begin to participate in air races, the most prominent of which was on August 27th, 1930, where Post completed the National Los Angeles to Chicago Derby with an incredible time of 9 hours, 8 minutes, and 2 seconds. In 1933, Wiley Post would overshadow this achievement when he and his navigator Harold Gatty flew around the top of the world from New York to New York in less than 9 days. He would publish his journey in a book named Around the World in 8 Days, Flight of the Winnie Mae. In 1933, Post would make this trip again, this time completely solo. Wiley Post, in place of his navigator, would utilize two incredibly new technologies for the time, which were an autopilot and a radio direction finder. He would overshadow his earlier record with a time of 7 days, 18 hours, and 49 minutes. Post would then again attempt to make this trip, this time at very high altitudes. To do this, he had a company design him a pressurized suit, as the Vega did not have a pressurized cockpit. The trip was unsuccessful, mainly due to the Vega just not having enough engine power to cope at those high altitudes, but it provided valuable research data in the late after-war years. In 1935, Wiley Post constructed a float plane out of a converted Lockheed Orion, wanting to test the operational capabilities of such an aircraft with a long-distance flight. Post invited his friend, as well as motion picture star Will Rogers, and they planned to fly to both Alaska and Siberia to test the capabilities of the plane. Unfortunately, the converted Orion was not aerodynamically stable, and shortly after its takeoff on August 15th, he lost control of the aircraft and crashed into the Wallapaka Lagoon near Point Barrow, Alaska. Neither Post or Rogers would survive this crash, and Post's funeral was held in the rotunda of the Oklahoma State Capitol, attended by over 15,000 people. All in all, Post's brief but transformative piloting career had tremendous impact on the budding aerospace industry. His high altitude and record-setting experiments setting the stage for continued flight developments of jets in the post-1945 periods. As for my references, I use the Oklahoma Historical Society, the Wiley Post homepage, and the Around the World in 8 Days. Thank you.